Yeah, thanks Ian, thanks very much everybody. Hope you're not in your carb coma after all the food. We're going to look at PouchNATION, who we are, a little bit what we do. I'd like to thank my 18 warm-up acts who went before me. Thank you very much for getting the stage ready. The good news is, it's a 30-minute presentation, not 45 as it says in the program. So you may be able to stay awake till the end. The topic, as you can see, is music festivals, travelers. It's quite a specific segment of our market. Kevin spoke about it earlier as well, and we're going to drill into that a little bit more. The 3 points on the agenda is a little bit about PouchNATION. 2 slides, I'm not going to spend too much time on that. And then we're going to go deeper into the specific segment that is the festival travelers and their behaviors. So PouchNATION is, pouch, where the name comes from, it's storage, it's a wallet. You can store tickets, money, vouchers, etc. Nation is about bringing promoters together, so we work with partners across the region, but also bringing the community of festival goers, music lovers together. We are not affiliated with Live Nation. It's a question we always get. Not yet, unless Ian we want to talk about that later maybe. The next slide is about who we are. So we have 6 offices where we operate across 8 countries. We have a agency in Myanmar and also in China at the moment. We're also looking sort of at the moment Hong Kong and Australia are sort of high on our radar as well to do partnerships there. The numbers we're looking at, they're sort of 2 zeros short of the big players like TEG and Ticketmaster. Saying that, we've only been around for 5 years, so we're still in our startup phase, and we're still quite young compared to other speakers that went before me. Well, what is, I think, very unique about us as a company is that we're truly regional. I don't think anyone on this stage here yesterday or today is as regional as we are. We have offices in all these places. We have local entities, permits, payment gateways. Some countries we need banking permits and certifications, which we all have. So I think we're very unique in that sense in what we do. When it comes to the type of company we are, it's the thirds that Ian was talking about yesterday. We are sort of the last third. We're not the content. We're not necessarily a ticketer. We're more on the grounds delivery, data collection, cashless payments, and reporting on all the behaviors that happened at the event. Just some of our portfolio there. Our bread and butter for the last 5 years has been in music. That's very much where we come from. Big festivals, EDM festivals, started in Philippines, Indonesia, and we've now, as you see, across 8 countries doing a lot of the major events. The products for the major events is very much NFC based, so it's either a card or a wristband, or it can be a lanyard as well. Sporting events, we work with the Tavisa Games. We accredited 120,000 people within 1 day. It was the test event for the Asian Games back in Jakarta. Then the Asian Games itself, we did the media center. We accredited all the media and press for that event. Music Run, we have a regional partnership with them, and we do marathons as well. In the exhibition corporate world, we do a badging system, which is also NFC based. Sort of goes beyond the badges you're wearing today. It includes NFC, which means it's more secure. You can store money, goodie bags, access to race courses and buses and all these kind of things. Next year. And we also have a venue product. So we're doing a lot of events across Southeast Asia, specifically in Bali and in Thailand, where we're delivering events in beach clubs and hostels, and they like our system. It's very efficient, it's quick, there was no theft, and venues start asking after our product. So we started developing a second system, which is more permanent installation. It's different hardwares. It's got bigger POS, it's got things like inventory, it's got cloud-based integration. That product was launched last year. I believe we're now operating close to 40 hostels and beach clubs throughout Southeast Asia, and that vertical for us is growing very, very fast at the moment. Going on to the benefits, so for all the verticals that we showed before, the 6 main benefits and services is ticketing and access control. We are not a ticketing company as such. We do provide ticketing in certain regions. In Vietnam, we're very successful in ticketing. In Malaysia, we're very successful in ticketing. We ticket the biggest event there, Good Vibes, but it's not our core business. Our core business is technology, on-the-ground delivery, data collection and reporting. So therefore we work with all the big partners. We don't really have any enemies in this field. We work with some events, 4 or 5 ticketing companies. We collect that data, the ticketing gets imported, and there'll be one central database, one central dashboard where the promoter can see where did the tickets come from, where did the people come from, how many people have arrived, how much are they spending, etc., etc. So it's very much an integrated system that we work with different people. Cashless payments, as I say, we're the biggest provider for cashless payment system in the Southeast Asia region. Manpower, I think we're also very strong on the ground. In all the countries we have local teams who really understand events. Within our operations team we have people that delivered Olympic Games, World Cup footballs, Asian Games, etc. So all serious players. Crowd management, we can do things like access control to backstage areas, into financial offices, to make sure the right people get into the right areas. Brand activation is something I'm going to touch on the very end. It's quite an interesting link how the wristbands can work with e-commerce sites and sponsors who get the data in return for sponsoring an event, for example. And then the data collection analytics, which is really what all this leads to. The wristbands, the POS system, they're all tools. The value really is in the data that we provide and the analytics reports that we produce. Music travelers, so that's the specific topic we want to drill in today. These are some of the big festivals that we supported in the last 12 months. They range from 10,000 to 40,000, 50,000 people throughout Thailand, Indonesia, Singapore, etc. Here are some of the interesting statistics, and I think this is sort of the next few slides are going to go very much into the data and probably some details that might surprise some of you. This is across all our verticals and the age ranges. So you see that the average age of the attendees is 18 to 27. Apart from the sports segment, you actually see there's an older demographic attending sports events across Southeast Asia. I think this was taken over a 12-month period, and the sample size is close to 1 million visitors. So it's quite a big sample size compared to CNN, who take 2,000 for their reports. The other interesting facts, just looking at the festival travelers, again, people who leave their country to see a festival. We see a lot of this in Asia. Big events don't go to all the countries. U2 does the Philippines and they do Singapore. Yeah? It's very cheap, or relatively cheap now, with AirAsia, Nok Air and all the low cost carriers to fly within Asia. So we see a lot of people traveling within Asia to see the bands that they wanted to see. Also, certain countries might have restrictions with regards to alcohol or religion and not allow certain events to happen in those countries. So we see people in Indonesia and Singapore, quite a high amount of money being spent for buying tickets outside their own country. And then the next interesting thing is what they spend when they're on site at the festival. So they travel and they spend $50 to $75 on their wristbands, transacting F&B, merchandise, etc., etc. So the last figure actually is in line with what Gary said yesterday as well. I think for the Coldplay concert in Indonesia, in Thailand, 30% of the guests come out of Indonesia. So they could see from their ticket sources that 2 days of concerts in a row, 30% of it was people coming out of Indonesia who wanted to see Coldplay. Coldplay weren't going to play in Indonesia, so they choose to fly to Bangkok on one of the local carriers, and then end up spending quite a lot of money at the festival. Traveling to festivals also, of course, is very Instagrammable, it's very social, it becomes an experience. And I guess that's what we're going to get to in the next couple of slides, is the experiences of being at a festival. A little bit more details on the data that we collect. So yesterday we were talking about the people who buy.
Will you be sharing these?
Yeah, we'll share. No secrets.
It's like an eye test at the moment. That's
oh, is it? Okay. So the data, I think, is very interesting. Actually, slides that we saw yesterday from a couple of other presenters was that the ticket purchasing happens a lot by females. Yeah? They go online, they're on their phone, they're buying tickets. On the ground, actually, most of the transactions are done by the males. Yeah? So my heels hurt, can you get me another drink? So it's quite interesting comparing the actual ticket sales to the on-the-ground sales. As Ian said, it might be a little small, but you can see things like the favorite drinks, beverages, merchandise, etc. And these again are very different every region. We see countries like Indonesia, Malaysia, which are more Muslim-oriented. There's less alcohol. If you go to Thailand, party place, the alcohol sales are a lot higher. There's beer sponsors, etc., which would never be possible in Malaysia, for example. So we can see across our region a lot of data, and also promoters coming into the region who want to put events on, who may not have worked here before. It's going to be very interesting to see, hey, what are we going to do? Do we want a beer sponsor, or do we want a burger sponsor, for example? Halal burgers. So there's a lot of information there. This is the top-up methods. So we provide top-up in advance, so people can top up through our website, or also through the ticketing website. So most of the ticketers that we work with will have an option for add-ons. An add-on can be a parking ticket, a tent at a festival, or putting money on your wristband. So when you check out, you actually add the money. Again, that data is sent to us, so when we scan the ticket, we know that people already added money to their wristband. When we scan it and activate it at the entrance, the money is already there. You could come to the event without bringing any money. It's all going to be your wristband, it's going to be secure, and this is really interesting. They're still very cash heavy. So we see there's still a lot of room for disruption, where we see in Thailand now QR code payments are taking over. The government has said that Thailand needs to be fully cashless by 2024. So you're going to see cash is totally going to disappear. Now that works where you have connectivity. Things like WeChat, Alipay work where you have connectivity. When there's 40,000 people in a field in the mountains north of Bangkok, none of that's going to work. And that's where we are very strong. Our system is an offline system, so all the transactions happen between the device and the NFC. So there's zero downtime, which again allows for transactions to continue for days on end, whatever the weather. So we see this changing quite rapidly. E-wallets are quite a new thing that we see really big increase in recent years on top of happening with e-wallets, QR code payments, etc. Cash will over time disappear. Then we want to talk about the role of technology. We believe that, and we've heard this a few times, people are looking for an all-in-one solution. The guy from Gojek this morning brought it up. The word experiences has come up a lot in the last 2 days here. And we are part of that. We believe in that. We believe that people want to go to a one-stop shop where they can book their tickets, their flights, their hotels, the shuttle bus to take them to the venue, etc. So we have partnerships in place with Traveloka and Thai Ticket Major. You know, they do provide the ticketing, the buses, the flights, and we work with them on the ground. They need an on-the-ground partner who specializes in scanning the tickets, activating the wristbands, collecting the data, reporting on the data, and just dealing with all the underground. So the minute the guests arrive at the gate, no matter where the tickets come from, we take ownership and we handle those guests and their journey through the festival and whatever they do after the festival, with refunding money or using that money maybe on a third-party sponsor website. This is the journey throughout the festival. So once people come in, we scan their QR codes, we take that data. There was a question yesterday about collecting data. Can you collect 100% of the data? Yes, you can. We've done events in Manila where we literally collect 100% of the data. By law, ID cards need to be checked because there's age restrictions, because alcohol is being served. We know that every wristband had the same name as the person ID card. So therefore, there are systems with social media login, email login, either in advance or at the event gates, where we can do 100% data collection. So that is possible. And then throughout the events, the wristbands are being used for purchases, access control, and activities. Then, sort of coming to the end now. One thing that we do a lot, and I want to touch on this because it's a very interesting concept, very popular, is bringing the offline audiences online. So e-commerce websites, e-wallets, they're all looking for new users. So what we offer is for them to pay for the wristband system or sponsor the wristband system, and they basically after the event they can use the leftover money on the wristband to take it to their website. So for example, we work with Zalora a lot in the Philippines. We've done multiple events with them now. If you have $10 left on your wristband, or 100 pesos, you can either take that money out at the event, you say I want that money back, or Zalora will say no, we sponsor that wristband. If you leave that money on the wristband, we will give you 50% additional. So we give you the $100, we give that $150 or $10, $15. You can use that on the website. Every wristband has got a unique number. We provide those numbers with the leftover balances to the e-commerce or the online shopping, and they can use those balances with additional benefits or discounts to do online shopping. So now Zalora, who paid for these wristbands, could be anything between $1 to $3, depending on the size, the quantity, the duration of the event. They've paid a few dollars to bring a new user to their website. And that's a very cheap way for e-commerces and e-wallets to acquire new users. And I think I flew through it. Yeah, that's the last slide. 50 minutes. Yeah. Any questions for anybody? Ian?
Any questions? I've always got questions.
I know you do.
There's been a lot of discussion with RFID at festivals in Europe around the money that remains on the RFID chip.
Yeah.
And whose is it? And if it's not the promoters or the event organisers, how do I get it back? Is there a variation across the region here in terms of?
Yeah, it's a very valid question, and it depends on regulation. In a lot of countries, closed loop systems are you can put the money in, you can't take it out. Yeah, so the money needs to stay within the system, and it can either come to the wristband operator or to the event operator.
You talked about releasing it to brands
yeah,
on the third-party circuit.
There are, in Thailand, for example, we've just passed we are now an official banking clearance system. So actually we can refund. In other countries, there's no regulation at all. In Indonesia, it's up to a certain amount. So you can have, within the system, you can have a certain amount of money which you can refund. So it is different per country. And again, I think that's why it's very important that we are in all these countries. We have the permits, the entities, the knowledge, the know-how. But it is different in different places. And also, promoters often feel different about it. Some of them say, I'm keeping that money. For me personally, I think as long as the message is conveyed well, as long as you display it, top of booth, money is not refundable, or money is only refundable between 10 p.m. and midnight, then I think that's fair. You know, if you don't say anything and you don't do refunds, I think that's a bit cheeky. But I think communication is everything. As long as you convey the message well, what is the rule, how it's going to work, then I think people will understand. But that doesn't always happen, and it creates a mess. Yeah, people have got a lot of money on it, and they're contacting us. I was at this event, and you know, our contact details are on the back, and they go like, "I've still got like $50 on there." And we're like, "Well, it's kind of the promoter's money because we don't touch the money. You know? The money, the top off, goes to the promoter. The cash goes to the promoter. So we do come across that."
So there's a bit of brand risk for you then, depending on who you.
Yeah, I mean that's why I think communication is so important. Yeah. I made that very clear. We do. Again, I think one of our strengths is that we are event professionals. We understand events. I come from the world of events, so I sit down with promoters. I look at how many queues do they need. You know, sometimes we go to a festival and we look at the plans. We have a production meeting. It's 20,000 people. We have 10 lanes. It's never going to work, guys. You need so many lanes here, and that's where my background comes in. And it's the same with messaging. Because even if there's not enough lanes and there's big queues, they look at us. PouchNATION t-shirts, PouchNATION wristband, oh, all these queues. Well, we didn't decide it was 10 lanes, that was the promoter. That's why I feel getting involved early and consulting them on the number of lanes, messaging, Facebook, Instagram, like refunds are available during these hours in these locations, etc., etc., etc.
No, I just wonder whether every festival promoter that's going cashless now needs a PouchNATION to point the finger at, when, in the same way as we had ticketing companies that were the fall guys for non-refunds, stand in the way of the consumer to get the back.
I think, you know, again, if it's in the terms and conditions, if it's on their Facebook account, I think people understand, you know.
And how much are you doing around geolocation at festivals? Are you using much for that?
So the passive RFID, NFC, you need tap points. So every time someone taps into a VIP area, backstage area, makes a transaction, we can locate them. If there are capacity limits to certain areas, if your main stage has got 10,000 people, you can tap people in and out, and we can actually say it's full now. Because when the main act performs on the main stage, everyone wants to go there, but actually, you know, you can't have everyone. So we can do that with the passive chips. There are also active chips, which are a lot more expensive, where you can actually, it's like you can use beacons and RFID. Talking about stuff I don't know about now, but yeah, there are ways of locating. We have done it, but it's a lot more infrastructure heavy. You need to put in aerials and beacons and floor mats, like a marathon, and people run through, when they arrive and where they go. Yeah. So it's a system that we've developed, but it's not very attractive price-wise. It doesn't really come anywhere near the price and benefits of the basic tech.
Any other takers? There's someone at the back. Can we get a mic to gentleman at the back there by the door?
Thanks. Is fraud an issue? It seems like if someone was putting in money, it's a highly defensible item, especially if you have people traveling overseas, stolen credit cards, putting that in and going there and just walking in, walking out, taking money out. Do you have any issues with fraud?
No, quite the opposite. I think we take away the fraud. the wristbands. So we use a very secure chip. We're a partner with NXP. NXP is the chip that's in your passport. You go for the e-gates at the airport. It's not a cheap chip. There are cheaper products in the market. We wouldn't use them. Also, it wouldn't work within our banking licenses, etc. We need to have the security levels, the encryption levels. So once the money is on the wristband, and once that wristband is on the person, then it's yours. Unless someone's going to sort of cut it off your hand.
Does your question relate to money laundering effectively, trying to get cash out?
Security of the chip. I understand that part. I'm
Sorry.
saying stolen
Sorry,
credit
microphone,
cards,
please, thanks.
for example, like for people in the ticketing industry, stolen credit cards are an issue, especially people, like you said, are traveling from overseas. You see a lot of this highly defensible item. People want to sell them for cheap. You're talking about a cash business, so if someone buys with stolen credit cards, puts cash onto this, shows up at the event, someone shows up at the event, who takes the money out? I'm just saying, is that something that you see where you get chargebacks and that kind of issues?
No, we don't have any really experience with that. The value is in the ticket, so the wristband doesn't get activated until we get the ticket. So whatever is in that ticket, if it's a VIP package or on the minute we scan the ticket, it can only be scanned once, the wristband gets activated. So yes, if you've got with your ticket $100 of top-up, you lose your ticket or you share your ticket, without cancelling it. You can cancel it. If you say, I've lost my ticket, we can cancel it on the system. We can create a new ticket with all your values. Basically, you show an ID, etc., etc., etc. But the value is in the ticket. The wristband doesn't get activated until we get the ticket. But yeah, to go straight to the point, we haven't really come across that. We've done $50 million of transactions under our belts. It's not really something that we've come across.
I'm sure once the criminals work it out. You heard it here first.
Could you explain a little more about the Zalora idea that you just typed in, how it works?
So we work with brands like Zalora. We used to work with Uber. They're sort of well in the Hong Kong region. So what they would do traditionally, they would pay for a wristband. They would pay for the wristband. They have their branding on the wristband. And they basically provide the sponsorship for the system. So the promoter gets all the benefits, the check-in, the cashless payments, etc., 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 etc. Then any leftover balances, going back to Ian's question, belong to Zalora. In fact, because they've got the system, they're holding the money.
So it's like a gift voucher
Yeah.
that you can use online with
But
Zalora.
how are you marrying the relationship between Zalora and whatever the event is that they're attending?
It'd be a sponsorship arrangement that we do a lot, because we work a lot with events. I've got brands in Thailand now talking to me. They say, we want to enter the Thai market. We're looking for an event that this is the demographics. We want guys that smoke and drink beer and ride Harley Davidson. So then I go to some of my clients and I say, hey, I've got this brand, this is the profile. They'd like to pay for the wristband system. I've already signed an NDA with them, but they're not going to go direct. And the client goes, well, that's great. I get the system for free. It's it fits within our within our image. It doesn't conflict with any other sponsors. That's we are the middleman, but it helps us because we're getting another gig, and it helps the client because they're getting the system for free, and it helps the brand because they're getting all this visibility. And also, actually, they say, especially something like Zalora, they can say, well, the money that's left on the wristband goes to the website, so now they've acquired a customer. But if they don't do that, the money left on the wristband, and so on average about $2 to $3 across all the events that we've done over the years, $2 to $3. If they don't claim that on the Zalora website, and Zalora keeps that money, it's actually paid for the wristband. More than that, so it's a win-win situation.
Any last ones? Oh, your own customer.
Oh, thank you, Koen. Just want to add a little bit. I know we're working with PouchNATION for a long time. It was a question regarding the credit card and the fraud, right? As a promoter, then we have this issue where we don't want customer top up $1,000 and then cash out $1,000 at the venue. So we make sure that if they top up with credit cards, then we have a limited number of maximum refund we can do. Right, so that's two things: allow them to spend more at the venue, and limiting those risks, because the promoter pay for the MDR of the credit card. So we don't want people to use a credit card to turn out cash, in other words. And just to add, Koen, your secret, PouchNATION have sort of a guideline on if you want maximum money to left over to say in your wristband, what sort of pricing, what sort of refund guideline you can do. So that's something we learned and it's proved very useful. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Gary. Yeah, so we identify the payment. So when we put money on the wristband,